Hello and welcome to Space Shark Teaches. I'm Sean from Space Shark Studios, and I'm here to teach you visual scripting in Godot 3.1. Let's get started. In this lesson, we're going to teach you how to make your ball move along a platform using your first visual script. So to start out, I'm going to add all of this back in real quick. We want to straighten this platform. So if you see when you hover over these, you can get the shortcut key. So W turns it into move, E turns it into rotate, S turns it into scale. So I'm going to start by rotating it flat and then press S to scale it and make it almost the size of the screen. Save that with Control S, and now we want to go ahead and press play. And we see that the ball falls and nothing happens. That's what we expected. First off, let's go ahead and move the ball down onto the platform because we're going to be making it roll. So we're going to open the ball scene up, and then we are going to be adding a new script. So you can either do this by pressing the new script button or by right-clicking and attaching a script. We're using visual script, so language is visual script. It inherits from Node 2D, that's correct. And then we don't want this path to be in scenes. So we click this button here. We go up a level into our base level, create folder called scripts. And now that we're in scripts, we can say open, it's ball.vs for visual script, create, and there we have it. We are now in the scripting interface. You can see we have ball.vs selected. Its base type is Node 2D. And then members and available nodes are going to be the two most important sections that you deal with. So functions are the functions. So basically, if you want to tell it to do something, you usually are going to call a function. And then the function will control which things are done and in what order. Variables are aspects that you can add to it. So if you want to say, set the speed of the ball, you can make a variable for that and make it available over here in the inspector, so that when you're over in main, you can have a bunch of different balls that have variable speeds. Signals we're going to get into later on, but they basically let other nodes know when something happened so that they can react accordingly. So something like picking up a coin or hitting a spike, those would both send out signals, or the player would send out a signal and the game would know, okay, add a coin or kill the player. Then we have available nodes, which are the more basic nodes. So we have some constants that you can choose from. So math constant, for instance, will have something like pi. We have different operators that you can use. So built-in operators like sine and cosine, ceiling, clamp, stuff like that. We'll be using those from time to time. Different sort of operators, so we can compare things, we can add things to each other, all sorts of fun stuff like that are pretty easy to do in GDScript, a little bit tougher in here just because we have so many different nodes to hook up, but you'll get used to it. We're going to lay out these projects in a way that it's pretty easy to jump between functions and know what's going on. So with that out of the way, we are going to add our first function. Now there are two different types of function that you can add. One is this hover, which is built-in functions that are a part of this Node 2D. And the other is plus, where you can make your own custom functions. We are going to use a built-in for process. You can see a description down here for any of the functions that already exist. So process, and actually we're going to be using physics process, runs multiple times a frame. So process will run every single time a new frame in the game is updated. Physics process will run at a speed that is constant regardless of frame rate. So some games have frame rate issues. So if it's a lot of complex stuff on the screen, the frame rate can slow down. You don't want all the movements and physics in your game to slow down if your frame rate is low. That can be bad, that can be jerky. Physics process will figure out how long in between things have happened and kind of run that number of cycles, or just basically try and stick to a set frame rate so you don't have to worry as much about that. So we'll go ahead and press open there. So this gives us a new function. We are going to be connecting these arrows to different things. Right now, we are going to be worried about the rigid body 2D. In order to make the rigid body 2D move, we are going to draw it in, or drag it in, hit cancel, and then go over here into the inspector. You can see that this node is referencing a node path, which means it's referencing this rigid body 2D. The node path is pointing to the rigid body 2D, and the function we're calling is blank. We're going to click on that, and we're going to use set axis velocity. So what that does is sets the velocity in the X or Y axis, with X going left and right, Y going up and down. Right is positive, and actually in Godot, down is positive. So we don't really care about up and down right now. So we're going to click on the set axis, and we are going to set X to 10. Press enter and click away. This won't run until it's hooked up. So we need to drag from physics process into this set axis velocity, and that will say anytime physics process runs, run this next. Go ahead and Control S to save, and now let's see what happened. Press play, and our ball is now rolling at a fixed axis velocity. And there you have it. You have your very first script. If we wanted to change something or try a different script, then we can go and choose a different one. So if we want to add force, we can add that and call this instead. And let's say we want to add, let's do 2, because force adds up. Press play, and you can see the force adds every cycle until the ball rolls off. Pretty cool, huh? So you can drag this in and make whatever changes you want. You can change an existing function by clicking on function and choosing any of the rigid body 2Ds. You can look through any of the others if you want. They all have an explanation as to what they do. And if you're ever confused and want to know exactly what this does, so see set axis velocity, you can use search help, set axis velocity. And you can see down here we have rigid body 2D, set axis velocity, open it, and you can see this is the same description that we had below. But you can see the rest of the functions that you can call, or the methods, for a rigid body 2D, and figure out which one you want to use. That's it. You've made your first script. So in the next lesson, we are going to be covering variables and constructors so that you can get this set up and being used over in here instead of having to change the script every time you want to change the speed. Thank you for watching Space Shark Teaches. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel and remember to click the bell to always stay up to date. Please also join us on our Discord, linked in the comments, and check out our other videos if you ever want to see what else we've been up to. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to see what you make.